In 1299, a tiny Turkish tribe controlled less land than a modern city. 200 years later, they ruled 3 continents. One man. One vision. One dynasty that would shake the world. Not just a story about an empire, a story about ambition meeting opportunity. How the Ottoman Empire was born. To understand the Ottomans, we must travel back to the steppes of Central Asia. Waves of Turkic tribes had been moving westward for centuries, pushed by drought, war, and the promise of fertile land. Among these migrants was a warrior chief named Ertugrul. He led his tribe to the western edge of Anatolia, right on the border between the crumbling Byzantine Empire and the weakening Seljuk Sultanate. The timing was everything. The Mongol Empire had just shattered the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. The entire Islamic world was in shock. Across the Middle East, power vacuums opened everywhere at once. Ertugrul's small tribe settled near Sogut, a modest frontier town. But its location was strategic gold. It sat right where Byzantine power was at its absolute weakest. The perfect place to build an empire. When Ertugrul died in 1281, his son Osman inherited leadership of the tribe. He was young, unknown, and had everything to prove. This young man would give his name to an empire that lasted 6 centuries. In 1299, Osman formally declared independence from the weakening Seljuk Sultanate. A small declaration. An act that few noticed at the time. But this moment is considered the birth of the Ottoman Empire. In 1302, a Byzantine army marched to crush this tribe. At the Battle of Bapheus, Osman's forces pulled off a stunning upset, defeating an army twice their size. Word spread across Anatolia, this was a leader worth following. What made Osman exceptional wasn't just military skill. He offered something rare: religious legitimacy, fair treatment of conquered peoples, including Christians, and a vision of justice beyond tribal lines. People flocked to his banner. Town after town fell, not always through war, but often through diplomacy. Osman had a genius for incorporating former enemies. Byzantine lords who submitted were often allowed to keep their lands and even their faith. The siege of Bursa lasted years. When it finally fell in 1326, it became the first true Ottoman capital, a city of magnificent mosques, bustling bazaars, and the beginning of a distinct Ottoman identity. Osman died in 1326, his life's work complete. From a frontier tribe to a recognized state, a distinct Ottoman identity had begun. Osman's son Orhan inherited an empire, small but organized. He built a professional standing army, established government institutions, and minted his own coins. These were the acts of a state, not just a tribe. Orhan defeated the Byzantines at the Battle of Pelekanon in 1331. The emperor fled the field in panic. It was becoming clear, Constantinople, the greatest city in Christendom, was slowly being surrounded. The defining moment came in 1354. An earthquake damaged the walls of Gallipoli. Ottoman forces crossed the Dardanelles and took it, the first Ottoman foothold in Europe. It would not be the last. The Devshirme System recruited Christian boys and trained them as elite soldiers and administrators, bound in loyalty to the Sultan alone. These soldiers, the Janissaries, became the most feared fighting force in the medieval world. Disciplined, loyal, and ruthlessly effective. No army dared face them twice. They were the iron fist of Ottoman expansion. Under Murad I, the Ottomans captured Edirne, deep in Europe. The empire now had a new capital on European soil. And Constantinople? The greatest city in the world was now surrounded on 3 sides. The Battle of Kosovo in 1389 broke the Serbian Empire's power forever. Though Murad I was assassinated that same day, his son Bayezid crushed all remaining resistance. The Balkans were Ottoman. Bayezid moved with terrifying speed, earning the nickname Thunderbolt. Bulgaria fell. Greece fell. Then came the catastrophe. Timur descended from the east. At the Battle of Ankara in 1402, Bayezid was captured. The empire fractured. For 11 years, Bayezid's sons fought a brutal civil war. It seemed the Ottoman experiment was finished forever. Then Mehmed II emerged victorious from the chaos and began patiently rebuilding everything his father lost. Murad II restored Ottoman dominance in the Balkans and crushed every Hungarian crusade. At the Battle of Varna in 1444, the last great Western attempt to stop the Ottomans was annihilated. The road to Constantinople was open. In 1451, a young prince took the throne. His name was Mehmed II. He was just 21 years old. His advisors underestimated him. That was their mistake. He had one obsession: Constantinople. The siege lasted 53 days. Mehmed brought cannons that had never been seen before, enormous bronze barrels that shook the ground when fired. Walls that had stood for 1,000 years began to crack and crumble. On May 29, 1453, Constantinople fell. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine XI, died fighting on the walls. Mehmed walked to the Hagia Sophia and converted it into a mosque. A new age had begun. Mehmed did not stop. He conquered Serbia, Bosnia, Albania, Crimea, and pushed deep into Italy. He was called Fatih, the Conqueror. By his death, the Ottoman Empire was undeniably a world power. In less than 2 centuries, a nameless border tribe became the dominant power between Europe and Asia. The secret? Strategic patience, flexible governance, and the understanding that loyalty always outlasts the sword. From Osman's small tribe in Sogut to Mehmed's empire spanning 3 continents, the Ottoman story was just beginning. Next episode, the fall of Constantinople. The 53-day siege that changed the world. Subscribe to Echoes of Empires.